Hi guys, so welcome to my YouTube channel dedicated to learning data science with Python. And today we are at the data analysis playlist and we're looking at introduction to NumPy arrays or introduction to NumPy. So first off, I'm going to start off by talking about NumPy itself. So we have NumPy, which is short for numerical Python. And the question is, what does numerical Python do? Now, numerical Python provides an interface. So it provides an interface to store and operate on data in a very efficient way. So an interface to store and operate on data efficiently. And to do that, data is converted to NumPy arrays. So data is converted to NumPy arrays. Now, as we proceed in this series, we are going to look at how NumPy arrays, provide a much more efficient storage and data operations as the data gets bigger and the arrays, grows larger. Right. Now, for us to get started, we're going to say a bunch of other things because typically you would analyze data in different ways. It could be from a video, from an image, or it could be text, and all this can be converted into numerical representations. And so the first thing we're going to do if we're going to work with an NumPy array is that we are going to import the package. So let's import the package. And today we'll create a pretty simple array or NumPy array, and we'll show you how that's done. So to do that, I'm going to import NumPy as NP, which is the typical thing you do. The conventional thing you do is to give it an alias. And so here we go. Normally, if you install the Jupyter Notebook through the Anaconda distribution, you would have NumPy already installed in your distribution or in your Jupyter Notebook. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create arrays. We're going to create arrays, and now here we're going to create arrays from Python lists. Now, it's also important to let you know that the arrays are similar to Python's built-in data structure called lists, right? To do that, the first thing I'll do is I'll use, because I have created NumPy here, which is NP, and if I use my tab button, I can see all the methods in my namespace. I would use the array method to create an array using a list, and inside here I'm going to create a list with numbers. See, just arbitrary numbers, and I close this here. Now with this, if I run this, you're going to see that I have arrays. So these are what arrays look like. Now it's also important for me to let you know that if I was to put this I call this list underscore array, I'll store this as a variable here. And once I do that and I use the type class and call this list array, you see that this is a NumPy array. You see NumPy ND array, right? So like n-dimensional arrays, right? So now we're going to do a lot of talking about this. It's also important for us to know that if I was to create, say, a list underscore numbers, let me say list underscore numbers. So here basically is a list. I would normally create it this way by only using this guy here. You can see this is what the list looks like, right? So so this a list, and so if I come over here and I use a type class and I write lists underscore numbers, you see what I have here is a list. So there's a whole lot of ways to create lists, to create arrays, but of course this is one very simple way to look at it. Now arrays can do a lot of things that a list, would struggle to do, right? Say for instance, if you look at this list over here, it has numbers, right? So this is the last thing I'm going to do, just to show you something really different. I can choose to multiply the elements inside the list. So here I will multiply the elements inside a list. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say lists. Here we have our numbers here, and I'll multiply it by 2. You see what happens? So the list, you can see the elements in the list here, it's been duplicated. Look at that. Then now I'll multiply the elements in an array, in the Numpy array, and of course we have our list underscore array, and I multiply it by 2. Now check out what happens. You see the difference now? Every element was multiplied by 2. Every element. So first of all, you can now see that in an array, it just feels like every element inside is an individual element. And it's interesting that I can take this, let me count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can basically like manipulate an array, these 8 elements in an array. I can do a lot of things to it. I can choose to get a square of each of them by doing this, and you just notice all of them get squared. But I cannot do it with this, because this is a list, and now I'm going to have an error. So that's typically what, just giving you a brain teaser of what it's like using a Numpy array. As we proceed in this series, we're just going to show you all the possibilities that a numerical Python or Numpy array, what all its attributes, and how you can use it to eventually perform data manipulation. And it gives, you have magnitudes of speed. The speed for it is going to be great, and it is going to be greater than a list. But of course there are trade-offs, and so we're going to talk about it in this series. So jump in, like, subscribe if you're starting data science from scratch.